Deadspin has accused J.J. Watt of being, in the headline, a bleeping, lying clown fraud.
Yeah,
Why?
It's an amazing story. You know, he talked about that log cabin that he has in the middle of the woods, and he painted a picture, kind of like Rocky IV in Russia when he goes to train, and it's, you know, it's just a dingy little house in the woods there. In fact, he said, quote, "It's really minimalistic. There are no frills. It's just an empty space and a log cabin in snow." So Deadspin, I guess through TMZ, has obtained pictures of the actual log cabin. It's the nicest log cabin you've ever seen in your entire life.
Holy smokes!
Yeah, exactly. They have a garage in a log cabin that's bigger, almost as big as the actual log cabin itself, and in that garage is a kitchen. The garage has its own kitchen. Inside the house, there are two more kitchens.
The pictures are funny, and it's much nicer than most people's homes. And
oh my God, Dan!
You remember Coach? You used to watch Coach back in the day.
It's
that kind of log cabin.
It's that kind of log cabin. That is, Bomani, that is perfect.
Yeah, ain't no president being born on the floor of this log cabin.
Yes,
they can get to the hospital.
I mean, the landscaping is beautiful. It's on a lake. He's got great views. He's got a sauna in there. I mean, this guy.
J.J. Watt's an interesting creature in that normally with that kind of athlete, we'll go ahead and make the mythology for you, but he appears real interested in feeding us the mythology. Well, I'm the hardest worker.
Well, he knows what's going on, and we all know what's going on. It's not very often that you can make an argument that, like, the most athletic guy in the NFL is the white dude, right? Like, on both sides of the ball, flat-out athletic freaks. You can make the argument that on offense it's Gronk, and on defense is J.J. Watt, right? And so the story they sell, everything about J.J. Watt is like log cabin stuff. Hard worker, does everything the right way. It's all that stuff. And he's like, oh, yeah, I can sell you white. Like, I've been white a long time. I know how to do this.
There's an elevator in the log cabin.
There's an elevator. I mean, I'm going through some of I'm sifting through the details. Dan, you have to see this garage.
But this is so easy. It's so easy to sell, though. Like, why would we ever believe this in the first place? Because it's such an easy sell.
I know, but he kind of sold it himself. Right.
But everybody jumped on. I mean, it fits in. You know, in the off season, he goes and works out in a log cabin like a good, hard-working guy.
Right, but can you paint a picture of the actual log cabin? Like, he painted a completely different picture than what it actually is.
It's pretty minimalist.
It's got an elevator.
He's got an image to maintain, and a man like him, in spite of making all those millions of dollars, can't have you understanding that he lives in the lap of luxury, baby.
I bet you it's got a submarine and a helicopter.
Oh, I mean, it's probably got a theater room. It's got a whole...
It's very minimalistic. I love Deadspin calling him a bleeping, lying clown fraud.
Yeah, that's their headline.
What were the rejected headlines of, you know what, this is a little too strong?
That is a lame lie to tell, though. Right? That is a really lame lie to tell. He is going to, you want him to be the brawny paper towel man, he is going to be the brawny paper towel man.
I remember we had him on the television show a while back, and he's not that interesting, but he is interested in cultivating this image of the guy who will outwork everybody in the league. And how often has that been the case, what Bomani is saying, where the two most athletic guys in the league on both sides of the ball are white guys? When has that ever happened?
Wow.
When has that ever happened in a league that's not segregated?
Well, who was the last great white defender, right?
Well, like DB.
Was there a white?
Yeah.
Well, was there a white basketball player who was the best on the defensive end while Larry Bird was playing?
Bobby Jones, huh?
Was he the best though? Was he the best?
Bobby Jones with the Sixers.
Yeah, Bobby Jones is what you got. But see, what I find interesting about this with all the athletic, why is it like we assume that white guys aren't athletic, right? We assume you can't find a white guy to play wide receiver. We assume you can't find a white guy to play corner. They be looking athletic as hell in that 240 to 260 range, though, don't they? Tight ends, defensive ends. You know, you seem to find them then. Like, Gronk's not the only white tight end out here doing athletic things. So what is it? You got to get heavy to be white and be athletic? Is that how this rolls?
Mike thought Kyle Rudolph was going to wreck the league. Didn't you? I also did.
You did.
But much like I discovered Breaking Bad through Roy, I discovered Kyle Rudolph's ceiling through you.
I did like that Notre Dame team. A lot of skill. But no, not as high on him as you were.
It's got a manicured patch of turf in which they play croquet on it.
Get out of here.
That's what it
Get
says.
out of here. Get out. The minimalistic log cabin has a croquet.
I would love to see J.J. Watt play croquet because I imagine it's a whole lot of hitting the ball harder than you need to.
I want J.J. Watt interviewed right now with the ferocity that we should be interviewing Coach K. I want him interrogated. What did you mean by minimalistic? Minimalistic with a croquet? A patch of croquet turf on your land?
Never believe this guy again, man.
And like him calling that minimalistic like blows the whole brand out the water, right? Because now it looks like first world problems.
I demand a public apology.
Me too.
Yes. Yes. In fact, let's get that started right here. Use our substantive media power. I demand an apology. I'm never the guy who demands apologies. I'm always the guy who doesn't want anybody to apologize for anything. Or if they're going to apologize, for them to apologize in the insincere way that Stugotz apologizes.
This house is sitting on 35 acres.
The minimalistic log cabin on 35 acres. He is a bleeping lying clown fraud. 35 acres.
Really minimalistic. Did he just want us to know that he uses that word? Because he could have just said, it's aight. Right? Because if he said it's aight, we'd have thought he was just being modest, and that would have fallen in line with the J.J. Watt brand.
You want to hear the way that Stugotz apologizes insincerely?
For those of you who were offended, I apologize because I'm tired of hearing from you, to be honest with you.
I so want, let's now, we'll have stat of the day next, but we demand an apology.
This is the Dan LeBatard Show on ESPN Radio.
Stugotz wants to rip J.J. Watt, but before we get a chance to rip J.J. Watt, here's Arnold Schwarzenegger, who's now doing this. Arnold Schwarzenegger is just putting his face in front of his phone, and he's giving pep talks to people who need pep talks. He's Arnold Schwarzenegger is just a master of pep. Here's Arnold Schwarzenegger trying to lift up poor, defeated J.J. Watt.
Hey, J.J., you and the Texans are fantastic. Just remember one thing. You didn't lose today. I'll tell you why. Because losers stay down. And I know you and the Texans, you always get up. That's why you're winners, and you always will be winners. So get going again, get up, put some fire into this team, and march forward. Hasta la vista, baby.
Of course, yes. Is he in a kitchen? Is he in a restaurant kitchen of some sort, or is he cutting up food? And I also noticed he didn't mention Brian Hoyer, who needs more of the pep than J.J. Watt does. So go ahead, have at it, Stugotz. You've been wanting to rip J.J. Watt all show today.
Well, I'm just tired of the act. And I think most people, and I've been tired of the act for, about a year now, and I'm glad that people are finally catching up because this guy, man, whether it's the swim move before the game out by the goalpost in front of the cameras or handing the football to the little old nice lady before the game, sitting in the chair and giving her a kiss and taking a picture in front of the cameras, throwing the footballs to all the kids before the game, which is a very nice gesture, by the way. He's a good guy for doing that. But again, doing it in front of all the cameras. And then, Dan, okay, and then when it's time to be a leader, okay, if you're going to talk the talk, then walk the walk, okay? Because Bill O'Brien, it's 13-0. The Texans are lucky to be in the game. They finally get the ball down to the 5-yard line, and they do it courtesy of Alfred Blue and Grimes, okay? They are gashing that defense. They have a chance to get back in the game. It's 1st and goal. And what does that dopey coach Bill O'Brien call? He calls J.J. Watt quarterback sneak play. That play. And if you're J.J. Watt, and if you're a leader, when Bill O'Brien calls that gadget play with you playing quarterback, if you truly care about the team instead of caring about yourself, then you would tell Bill O'Brien, you know what, coach? Probably not a good time for this call. I'm not a quarterback. I'm a defensive end. Now, that guy, he's not much of a quarterback either, Brian Hoyer, but hand the ball off to Grimes and Blue because that's how he got down to the 4-yard line. But he didn't because he wanted to play quarterback, and Bill O'Brien felt some need to get him into the game, to get the fans excited, to get J.J. Watt a touchdown. You know what? That game should have been about winning a football game, not about getting J.J. Watt more camera time and a touchdown as a quarterback.
I mean, you've
J.J. Watt, you tell your coach, if you're the leader, not a good time for this play. Not a good time. Give it to Alfred Blue. Bill O'Brien should be fired.
You have rarely said anything more useless than the phrase, you know what, that game was about winning a football game. You actually just said that, and it was about the 10th dumbest thing you said.
Well, it was about J.J. Watt.
And
everything about J.J. Watt. I mean, no one loves J.J. Watt more than J.J. Watt. We could agree on that, right? So you know what? His season's over. Go flip more tires. Go chop more wood. Go sit in that log cabin that's not really a log cabin. It's a log cabin that you tell us it's a log cabin like a scene out of Rocky IV, but it's really not. You can play polo there and croquet. And it's got a garage that has its own kitchen and a shower. I'm tired of him, Dan.
You don't say.
I know you're tired of him, too. You just won't say it.
No, you're making
And I can't believe I was upset he didn't come on our show last week.
You're making an argument on behalf of less Vince Wilfork and J.J. Watt in my backfield and more Brian Hoyer. You could talk to the end of time using Malcolm Gladwell's skills, and you will never convince me less Vince Wilfork and J.J. Watt in my backfield and more Brian Hoyer?
You're not a quarterback, J.J. Watt. You're a defensive end. Well, he's also not a tight end. And how many touchdowns did he have last year?
Okay, that's great. That was last year. This is playoff time. It's time for winning. It's not time for J.J. Watt.
Okay.
No, it's time to win a game. I'm not saying Brian Hoyer should throw the ball. Hand it to Alfred Blue. Hand it to Grimes. Get yourself a touchdown. Get yourself back in the game. Stop worrying about J.J. Watt, gimmick plays, playing quarterback, getting himself a touchdown. Please. How about he didn't play defense well yesterday? Do that first, then you can play quarterback.
Saturday.
Whatever.
Mi socio, estás escuchando el Dan LeBatard Show on ESPN Radio.
Speaking of football, Stugotz is much anticipated J.J. Watt take because Stugotz will take any opportunity to savage J.J. Watt, who he believes.
Well, J.J. Watt will take any opportunity to make a story about himself, and he did it again last night. I'm just so tired of J.J. Watt. I am so tired of him. Last night, everyone's enjoying, the whole world is enjoying Kobe Bryant's final game, Golden State chasing the wins record, which they got. Congratulations to them. And J.J. Watt is sitting there on Twitter, and he is saying, this is inspired by Mamba. I'd rather work to be like Kobe and Steph than watch them. Get over yourself, man. Seriously, why do you have to make their night, Kobe's night, and Steph's night about J.J. Watt? And I don't believe you for 1 second that you were there lifting weights and working out rather than watching the basketball. I don't believe him for 1 second. That's what bothers me about him. He's a phony and he's a fraud.
Okay.
No, so you can take a picture of yourself working out and post it on Instagram and then tell everyone that you're not watching Kobe and Steph. You could do that, but my bet is that he posted that while watching Kobe and Steph.
Got a TV in the gym.
I'm tired of him, man. Dan, you got to admit, man, he does this all the time. He takes every opportunity to make a story about J.J. Watt. Last night, the story was Kobe, not J.J. Watt. And somehow he made it about himself.
Often on this show, we ridicule Stugotz for his hot takes. I'm 100% on board with this one. No jokes. He is absolutely a phony.
Wait a minute.
100%.
First of all, I'm not comfortable calling anybody a phony. He works really hard to be liked. I will agree with that. I'm not comfortable calling him. I mean, he works really hard at it. But I would say the second step on this is where I go somewhere else. I believe he's working out. I believe and I believe he wants everyone to know that he's working out. I won't take the next step of calling him a phony and a fraud because of how badly he wants everyone to know that he's working out. But I do love that the reason that Stugotz finds that as an appraisal is because it's something he would do.
Totally.
Like, I didn't even consider for a moment the idea that he wasn't actually working out.
Right. That's totally something I would do.
It's like Stu talking about the games last night, and I'm thinking, did you actually watch the game, Stu?
No, I didn't.
But he came with very strong. Well, he was too busy working out.
But the equivalent
was too busy working out or doing whatever it is that makes his nose bleed.
Right, but the equivalent, The equivalent is, The equivalent, I mean, there's three people here with nosebleeds, and I'm the only one getting accused of doing anything.
I don't know. Wait a minute. I'm not accusing you. I'm just wondering. I
understood your joke. We all did. Wasn't very subtle. I don't appreciate it, by the way.
I mean, your nose could be. Maybe you got in a fight last night.
I feel like the fish drop.
That's what you were going for.
The fish drop per segment rate when I'm on is unusually high. It always is.
Yes, the dead fish falls out of the sky. Is Stugotz seething right now? There's seething going on right now? Yes, that seems to be seething. Yeah, the silence suggests.
Well, you just suggested it to a national audience
I did
that
not.
I spent last night.
No, I did not. No, I did not.
voy a reír, voy a bailar on the Dan LeBatard Show on ESPN Radio.
Here's some of the backstory. If you're just joining us, there are people in the news who are taking Stugotz's words and making it news, whether it's a Houston radio or television station that had its anchors repeat what Stugotz said of J.J. Watt.
Yeah.
J.J. Watt has been forced to comment.
Yeah.
J.J. Watt has actually released a statement forced.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, he has. For me.
Wait, what was it?
I don't know why people are listening to Stugotz.
This is, you know how they say in the media, a snake eats its own tail? This is as if the snake were to take its own poop and wear it as a hat.
Yes, that is correct. Well, here's J.J. Watt. Quote, if we could just believe in the good. Here's J.J. Watt, okay, responding to Stugotz's criticism that he's a phony and a fraud. If we could just believe in the good and we can actually go out there and spend our energy on being good people and doing good things as opposed to trying to rip other people down and trying to poke flaws in other people, I think we can truly make changes in the world.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, this guy, J.J. Watts.
Oh.
Time to find out who has rubbed Stugotz the wrong way in a segment we call...
They're dancing in the shipping
guy.
container.
Really?
I mean, this guy, J.J. Watts. Really? Responding to a media dope like me who's not even serious? This guy, J.J. Watt. Really? No one said you shouldn't do good things. I think you should do good things. Everyone thinks you should do good things. Just stop telling us and reminding us about the good things that you do. I mean, this guy, J.J. Watt. Really? Today, he posted a picture in front of Pat Tillman's badge. Of course, he had to do it. Just couldn't go visit Pat Tillman's badge. He had to send a picture that he was in front of Pat Tillman's badge. Stop reminding us of how perfect you are, J.J. Watt. We get it. And you know what? I'm not going to unfollow you. I'm going to continue to follow you because that's where I get all my material. This guy, J.J. Watt.
Okay, I didn't tell the audience about part where J.J. Watt said, if you don't want to follow me, just unfollow me. If you don't want to know the things I'm doing.
Well, now you told him. This guy, J.J. Watt.
Right.
Really? Telling me to unfollow him on Twitter. Right. Thanks for the setup there, Deb.
Yeah, that's okay. Just in the event that...
JJ, let me tell you something, all right? I'll follow who I want to follow. You follow who you want to follow. Yes. This guy, J.J. Watt. Really?
Yeah, okay. Excellent work, Stugotz.